Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealthy Winning Wednesday. And I hope you have your thinking caps on today because we got a lot to talk about. All right, go ahead and let us know in the chat box where you're from. We have 15 people on so far, so woohoo, awesome. Who's ready to get started? Also, at the top of the chat bar, I have placed a calculator. It's a link to an online calculator called the Expected Return Calculator, which helps you calculate risk versus reward and also things like future value of money and things like that. It's an online calculator from Zenwell, so go ahead and type that in. Oh, good morning. We have Murnosh from Florida. Welcome and happy to have you on board today. And who else do we have? Sarah Holland from Plymouth, New Hampshire. Woohoo! Yay! Awesome. All right, we're warming up. Christina Juarez from Valley Center. Yes, I know you, Christina. You're right around the corner. And Ryan Ward says hello from Texas. Hey, everybody. Welcome. So glad to have you here today. Okay, I'm going to go to my slides, and unfortunately I didn't upload it until just now, so it's taking a minute to upload. And we have some really awesome things ready for you today. We're going to be talking about building your empire, which is your brokerage, and building it using great tools like diversification of income. That's what the big corporate companies use at Fortune 500 companies, right? So why wouldn't we use them at our real estate brokerage? We're going to talk about the Fortune 500 concepts without the MBA price tag. And yesterday I was blessed to be able to attend an Ashford University event. It was with the Forbes School of Business and Technology. So it was their annual Thought Leader Summit, and Mr. Forbes came and visited the group. It was about 100 leaders from the Southern California area in business and academia, and it was very interesting to hear people's predictions of the future based on our economy and also innovation, entrepreneurship, and how it's impacted by things like trade, tariffs, immigration, healthcare, the workforce. It was really, really interesting. I also got a book. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. I don't know where I put it, but I also got a book about hiring, which we're going to be talking about in next week's topic. And next week is all about agents, about hiring agents, retaining agents, recruiting them, and most importantly, the calculations, which I know some of you have been able to sit with me and do some of those calculations to figure out what it takes to be profitable for your agents and the minimum production required from each agent to cover their overhead costs. So we'll talk about all that next week. And this week, we're going to dive into the topic of income streams, revenue, profit centers. Okay, let's see who else is on with us today. Oh, Eileen Skates from Florida. Hello, Eileen. Wonderful. Ben Brown is joining us from Dallas, Texas. Yay. Okay, and then we have Tawana from Minnesota. Woo! How's the weather out there? Is it getting a little chilly? I heard it's been pretty rainy and cold and maybe even some snow. We have Rebecca Soto from Orlando, Florida. Hey, Rebecca. Awesome. Glad to have you here. All right, let's see if our PowerPoint is loaded. If not, I'm going to go ahead and let's see if we can. Looks like it's still uploading. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little screen share here. So let me get started here. And we're going to go back here. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little screen share here, and we'll see how this works. You'll have to let me know if it advances or not. I'm going to go back to the chat here. Oh, we have Jonathan from San Diego. Hey, Jonathan, it was great to meet you at the NAREB event recently, last week, actually. Okay, we're going to go to screen share now. Okay, please let me know if you can see that, everybody. It is Start Your Own Brokerage Blueprints to Build Your Empire Profitably. And Start Your Own Brokerage. We are now at step 4, which is your product mix. Okay, so I'm just going to go back over here, make sure everybody can see my slide. It should be on the welcome screen. And please let me know if you can see the welcome screen. Okay, now you can't. All right, we'll go back over here to the welcome screen. So welcome. We've been talking about the Fortune 500 concepts without the MBA price tag, and that's what we're going to focus on today. We have some advanced MBA concepts for you, so I'm really excited. Let's get started with MBA Broker Consultants, where we don't just play the game, we change it, and we help you change your game as well. And that's what our topic is about today, changing the game. Right, so today is the 4th step of 12 to build your real estate brokerage business empire. And it's for brokerages only, brokerage owners or managers who can benefit from this information. A little bit about me. I recently got my BA degree in real estate from Ashford University. Woohoo! Which is why I was invited yesterday to the Forbes event. And then I went on and got my MBA degree. I've been a real estate licensee for about 30 years, a broker owner, and currently a consultant to other brokerage owners because I have been blessed with so much great information, advanced information about running my brokerage after all these years, and I'm just sharing with all of you, my brokerage friends. So together we're going to elevate the professionalism in our real estate industry. So today is all about digging the foundation, which means that's your product mix, right? Sharing revenue sources, profit centers, income streams. How do we do that? Why should we even do that? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so today's agenda is all about the product mix. That's our first topic. Then we're going to go to income streams and profit centers and talk about turning cost centers into profit centers. Then we have risk versus opportunity. And we're going to show you something sort of fun and innovative called the suns and clouds chart. And that's going to be in our activity workbook that you can take a look at as well. Also, we'll have new production investment payoff. That's the calculator I just gave you at the top. It should be pinned to the top of the chat bar, and that's a link. These figures are difficult to calculate on your own, so you're going to want to use a calculator for that. And then lastly, we're going to touch on economic market cycles and why it's so important to prepare for the ups and downs that are certain to come our way. Show me the money. Woohoo! Money, that's what it's all about today, right? Don't get wrapped up in the math because the math is just a tool to get you to the money. Okay, we're going to talk about product mix. So before we do, I'm going to share with you, let's go back over here. I'm going to share with you the workbook for today. So let me get started with that. Okay, workbook. File sharing. Okay, it's called MasterMind Activities 4. Okay, so I just shared that. Let me know if you can see it. If you want to open it up and take a look at it there. I'm going to go to mine so we can follow along with it together. And the first thing you're going to see at the top is the income types. We're going to go over that in just a minute. Page 2 is our profit pinwheel. Page 3 is the risk versus opportunities chart with the clouds and the suns. And then lastly, we have the suns and clouds chart. And so we'll go over all of that today. And let me know if you can, I'm going to go back over to the chat. Oh, Carla says, thanks for always sharing, Regina. You're welcome. Thank you, Carla. Okay, please type in the chat and let me know if you're able to download the activity workbook. Okay, printing it. Okay, great. We have success. Anybody else? Okay, let's go back over to the screen sharing. And we're going to go to product mix. Okay, so what is our product mix? Product mix is a way of diversifying our income, right? So that is revenue streams and turning cost centers into profit centers. So for example, something costs us money in our real estate brokerage. How do we offset that cost? And better yet, how do we flip it around and turn it from a cost into a profit? So an example of that might be you want to provide services to your agents, or you have to provide them, for example, E&O insurance. But you don't want to charge your agents necessarily for E&O insurance. So maybe you can create a suite of products, including E&O insurance, other things, and then there's a per transaction fee that you call the risk management fee. Maybe it's some legal advice or whatever it is. So you wrap that into a product, and now instead of it being a cost center, it's a profit center for you. Diversification is also a good way to capitalize on market opportunities that might be coming down our way. And we also know that change is inevitable, right? So how do we explore innovation that we know is going to be coming anyway and make that profitable for our business? And also, how do we insulate our business from the uncertainty of sales? Most of us, our primary income or our primary focus of our business is real estate sales. Okay, so how do we take those sales and make sure that we have steady income every month to pay the overhead in our brokerage? That's a tough situation, so we'll be talking about that today. Over on the left, let me know if you can see this. Hopefully you can see my slide number 12, but it's a little diagram of a corporation. Under the corporation, there are 2 strategic business units, SBUs, and then each of those are strategic business areas. And so we'll show you how to wrap that up on some coming up slides here, okay? Another great reason for diversification is to allow your agents to develop their strengths. So we know that different agents have strengths in different things, and by exploring other means of just straight sales business, they can feel more well-rounded, more satisfied, and rewarded in their work because they are using multiple strengths of theirs rather than only sales. Also, diversification can increase your company value because you have a stronghold on your customers, right, in your community, and you are reaching them multiple ways. So you have your reach is very strong, very deep. And when a competitor comes along, they're not going to be able to knock you off very easily. A new brokerage might come into town, or, maybe a big multinational corporation that thinks they're going to knock all the local businesses out of business and take their business. But it's not really that simple. If you're diversified and you have several different income sources from each customer, they're not going to leave that quickly, right? And the last reason is longevity of your business and the legacy. And the legacy is the future value. Okay, all right, let's keep going here. So let's talk about a Fortune 500 concept. It's called Economies of Scope. And what that means is that your company has some core competencies, you have resources, you have capabilities, and you're already earning money off of those, but you can take those and leverage them to create more income. So, okay, so it's a cost savings created by the company. Let's see how to put this. So you're already spending the money, right? So how do you take what you have, that's your strengths, with the money you're already spending, and spin that or leverage that into more profit in another area? Okay, so there's basically two ways to do that. One is by sharing resources and capabilities. And remember, resources are what you own or what you have, that's your strengths. And your capabilities is, again, your strength or what you're capable of doing, what you're set up to do. And an example of that might be your office. You're already paying lease and overhead in your office. And the second way is to transfer corporate level core competencies such as managerial and technical, and your knowledge, experience, and expertise. Okay, so let's take a look at what that is. So this is a little chart that shows your relatedness of diversification, is what it's called. So there's basically two things. We talked about sharing activities between businesses. And so that's on the left. And then core competencies is on the bottom, the high and low. You can see that there, right? So first of all, if you have office space in your office, maybe, and you have unused office space, let's say you're already paying the lease, but you have a private office that your agents don't want to pay for, it's sort of unused. What else can you do with that space? So if we look at the green area in the top right corner, it says both operational and corporate relatedness. So what if you were to rent your office out to a mortgage lender? That would both incorporate sharing of activities that you're already doing and your core competencies or strengths that you already have, which is real estate sales. And so that could be a revenue source for you, as well as more compatible for your brokerage than if you were to rent it out to, say maybe a tax preparer or something like that, which isn't a bad idea again. Okay, so does that make sense? So if it has a high level of activity sharing and a high level of core competencies, then that is something you want to look at. Whereas the low, maybe not so much. So try to look at things that are related. And we're going to keep going because we have a lot to say about this. So we're going to take a poll right now. How many revenue sources does your brokerage have? So A is only 1, sales transactions, B is 2, sales and property management, and C is multiple sources. So what I'm going to do right now is just flip back over here and put the poll up. All right, let's put this poll up. How many revenue sources does your brokerage have? All right, so go ahead and answer that poll. Only 1, sales transactions, 2, sales and property management, or C is 3 or more sources of business, multiple streams. Okay, we got a lot of response right now. This is great. Okay, I'm getting some feedback that I can't see the slides, so I'm going to switch it to something else when we go back. Okay, poll, only 1 so far is 50%, 2 is 25%, C, multiple sources, 25%. We'll give you another minute and then we'll publish the poll. Okay, 1 more minute. What are your streams of income? Okie dokie. Okay, we got a couple more answers here. Okay, we ended the poll. Only one was 53%. 2 is 24%, and C, multiple sources, is 24%. Okay, great job. We're going to go back to screen sharing here, but I'm going to do it a little differently this time. Sorry for the technical difficulties today. And so now let's talk about customer demand. Okay, so what products and services do your customers need and want? And more importantly, are they willing to pay for it? So let's talk about the first part of that. When you're thinking about offering a new product or services, what do your customers need? And we should know what our customers need, and you would think they would know, but they may not necessarily know. And what do your customers want? So what they want is not necessarily what they need, but it's what do you anticipate they would need in the future. So as an example of that, the cell phone, right? Nobody could ever envision needing a cell phone, but yet everyone has one today. You almost can't live without it. So that's an example of innovation, getting to the future and anticipating customers' needs in the future before customers realize that they needed it. So in that case, it wasn't necessarily a need, but it was anticipating from the business side of what customers would be willing to pay for and what would be useful to them. And the second part of that equation is, are customers willing to pay for it? For example, can they afford it? That's the first part. And then if they can't afford it, is it something they would spend their money for? For example, you might offer paid training classes, and they may say, I want it, I need it, I can afford it, but I'm not willing to pay for it because I can just go to YouTube and watch the videos instead. Okay, so does that make sense? Okay, next is revenue types. So what are the various revenue types? Residential sales, which is what about half of us are doing, only residential sales. We also have commercial sales, which is, a completely different area, and property management. Now, why I love property management is, I'm going to say there's two main reasons. The first reason is it smooths out those rough bumps. So say, for example, you have salespeople and they're seasonal, right? Because we know, as we're going to talk about later today, sales sort of calm down a little in the winter months and they pick up in the spring. So you might have a lot of sales one month and none the next month. So how do you pay your overhead, keep the lights on? Property management, you get paid pretty much the same amount every month, month after month, on the same day of the month. So it's a great way to help smooth out that cycle. The second reason I love property management is because it helps feed your pipeline. You sell a house to an investor, they decide to let you manage it. So now you're working closely with that investor. And guess what? When it's time to sell, you can be the listing agent again and get another bite out of the apple. So same thing with asset management. Asset management is commercial real estate property management. Okay, what about relocation? What about your company going after a corporate account for relocation? What about REO contracts, BPOs? I'm not really a big fan of BPOs, but I know there are some brokerages that do it on a big scale, and it's very profitable for them. For the most part, I don't see it being very profitable, but it could be another revenue type during the down season or during the market change, which I know many agents and brokerages did use that as a source of income when the market was changing about 10 years ago during the recession. What about corporate accounts, lead services, referrals? So think of anything that comes to mind. We're going to keep going just because we have so much to cover today. So revenues, your profit centers, is about creating revenue streams by converting costs into profit. So we just talked about, for example, what is compatible with your business? Property management. What about mortgage lending? What about an escrow division for us that live in states where we have escrows instead of closing attorneys? What about home warranty? Who needs a home warranty? Every one of your buyers and sellers need a home warranty. So, and you're going to be recommending it. Why not get a little piece of that pie? Now, according to RESPA, do you have to disclose if you're selling consumers on multiple services? Absolutely. Get that disclosure ready. Have your attorney look at it. But wouldn't it be better to just give a disclosure and make the money rather than have no income stream from that at all, right? Commercial leasing sales, we talked about that. Home improvement is a great area that many of us don't think about, but home improvement could be a good partnership with a contractor, who needs home improvement? Sellers selling your houses. What about buyers who are buying houses? Many of them want renovation, whether it's a little or a lot, and that could be a great profit center as well. Okay, I hope these screens are keep moving for you guys. We're on screen number 14, corporate accounts. Let me just check back and make sure real quick. Okay. Okay, great. I counted 2 property management companies separately. Okay, good, Eileen. And Murnage sales and ad space in our magazine. Okay, you're saying the slides are not moving. Okay. So we're going to try it again. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we're going to go back to Okay, so now you should see on the slide corporate accounts. And on the corporate accounts, we have estate attorneys, financial planners, government contracts, REO contracts, employer-assisted housing, corporate relocation, national referrals, business alliances. So all of these are things that you can do at a corporate level that your agents aren't running around trying to do on their own. And why should you start to think about that at a corporate level? Because it's very difficult for agents to have the capacity and the capability to pursue large-scale accounts. So if you think about, for example, government contracts, that's an area that not many real estate brokerages pursue. I think it's probably because they don't know a lot about it, but there are many opportunities in government contracts, and the competition, although it's fierce, it's very small. But an agent on their own, that would be very difficult for them to pursue something like government contracts. But on a corporate account basis, that's something you could do. And then you could assign which agents you want to work on that account, or you could have one agent specifically for that. Or you could hire an employee or somebody specifically to work on government contracts. So that's just an idea. So these are 8 sources where you can find different corporate accounts types of income. Okay, any questions on that? Any questions? Okay, only one screen I see. Okay. All right, let's hopefully it's moving now to the screens, because we do have another screen up. It's called vertical integration. So let's go over there. So vertical integration, what does that mean? That's your supply chain. And your supply chain is the beginning of a transaction till the end, and maybe even later. So think about your sellers. Where do they start? Maybe they don't start with buying a house. Maybe they start with, getting their house renovated. Selling a house. They start with maybe renovating their house. And then the next stage is they want to stage their house. And then they sell it. And then after they sell it, what's the next step? Maybe they need to relocate. Maybe they need utilities turned on. So think about every step of the supply chain. With buyers, you're going to have mortgage lenders in there. With buyers, you might need a tax preparer because they haven't done their taxes yet. You need it for the lender, or they're self-employed. So think about every step from origin to destination. How can you acquire, develop, or start activities that are strategic alliances, or integrate them within your company with the vertical integration? Okay. So our next is forming alliances, and we just have the partnership here. Informal partnership, vertical supply chain, complementary businesses, revenue or profit sharing, contribution, services, risk, capital, benefits to clients and companies, and increasing your profit base, your client base. So we have all of that in forming alliances. And so a little word of caution here. I know I'm talking about a lot of income sources. Don't feel overwhelmed, number one, and don't go out and try to do everything. You want to be strategic and make sure that what you're doing will be profitable, it will be compatible with what you have now, and it will increase your market share in an organic way. And we'll show you how to do all that. But the main thing is I want you to start brainstorming and thinking of integrating things that you hadn't thought of before. All right, so now we'll talk about income streams. And we're going to go to, hopefully you can all see that there. That is Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant. How many of us have a job, right? We were an employee before we started in real estate. Then we got our real estate license, woohoo! And then we go to the S quadrant, we became self-employed. Well, being self-employed is seemingly better because we have more freedom and flexibility, but honestly, we do work more hours, and at the end of the day, do we really make as much as an employee, more or less? And many of us as self-employed people, when we look at our taxes, we actually don't make more than an employee. We actually own our job, right? So being an agent is self-employed, but also being a real estate broker, you're self-employed as well. So let's take it to the next step. Instead of owning a small business, owning your job, let's build a big empire, and let's take it to number B. Quadrant B is your business owner. You own a system that works for you, right? So instead of owning a job where you're the primary person driving everything, own a system where other people work for you, your assets work for you, your systems work for you. These revenue streams that you've put in place are working for you. So one of the things that we know is the E and S quadrant. You're trading time for dollars. So you have to do the work to get paid. You have an active income. In other words, you work for the money. And so the source of income is based on your labor. So that is a linear business model. You can't leverage it, and there are few tax benefits. But if you go to the right side of the quadrant, that's the B and I, you own a system. You get time freedom, you can leverage it and also get tax benefits. It's an exponential model because if you have a system, instead of you doing all the work, you can continue adding to it, and everything you add can multiply exponentially. So the good thing about the B and I quadrants is you can make money while you sleep, while you're on vacation, and your money is working for you. So in other words, it's passive and residual income. So there's two things working for you there in the B and I. And we're just focusing on the B quadrant. The I is even better, but we're not there yet. So one step at a time, right? So if you could pull out your worksheets right now, and at the top of your worksheet, I believe it's page 1, you're going to see something that says revenue type, and it's going to have some examples on there of different types of revenue. So your revenue types that are on there are transactional, regular, recurring, passive, residual, corporate account, subsidiary, and affiliate partnerships. Now, before your head starts spinning with all these different sources, let's just talk about basically what each of them are. So let me go back over here. Okay, so I'm going to go to mine here. So transactional revenue is going to be based on your sales. And then you have regular revenue. I would call property management more of a regular revenue. You're getting paid every month. And actually, you might even put it into the recurring income category. A good example of recurring income is you charge agents a monthly technology fee, a marketing fee, a desk fee, a risk management fee, or whatever it is. So you have regular monthly recurring income that's coming in. The next one is passive income, and that might be perhaps you have a website with some services that you offer or some informational products. People go to your website, they buy it, you never see it, you never hear about it, you just get a report at the end of the month, cha-ching with your money, and I call that mailbox money. The next one is residual, and residual income is income from something that you do that lasts over a period of time. And the best example is something proprietary, a work of art like writing a book. So you have a book and you maybe license it and you continue to get residual income from licensing it every month, or maybe you have a course or something like that. And the next one is corporate accounts, which we touched on earlier. That's going to be like REO, employer assisted housing, relocation, corporate government accounts and things like that. Okay, subsidiary could be a company under your company, maybe like a mortgage lender or something like that. And then we have affiliate partnerships. Now, affiliate partnerships are great because they're something that your customers are buying anyway. So just to clarify, you have two types of customers. One type is your clients, your agents. Those are your first tier of clients because you're directly engaged with them, you're hiring them, and they need to buy products and services. And when they do, you can provide that to them and earn a little bit of an affiliate fee for that. What about your secondary clients, which is buyers and sellers? Don't they need things as well? Absolutely. So what can you offer them? You can offer them something with an affiliate partnership. Okay. All right. So, okay, Joe has a question here. Which income stream do you think would be the quickest to implement and have the highest impact? I love property management. I'm sort of partial to it because that's how I started my real estate career. I worked for a top-selling real estate agent, and it was a very good partnership to have. She had a dozen investor clients that she served on a regular basis, and from that, a property management business. And the two went hand in hand very well. So I'm a big fan of property management. Another income stream might be, offering something to customers and clients that maybe they're already getting from another source, or maybe they're willing to pay for something that they're already getting for free. So that's something to think about as well. Rebecca asks, can you send the slides? I do have a replay available. I'm sorry the slides weren't working and uploaded like I was hoping this morning. That was my error in getting started. And let's see, Martha says, oh, you're awesome. Thank you, Martha. So are you. You are right on with clarity and step-by-step direction, points of action. This is a must re-listen webinar for sure. Yes, very awesome. As I was putting this MasterMind webinar together, I got a lot of ideas myself. So I think this is very good to brainstorm with others at a high level. Take these ideas back to your leadership team, screen them, see which ones you can implement. Okay, and then I see the slide. Okay, really good. We're going to go back to the screen sharing here. Okay, so should see the different revenue types up there, and that's exactly what's on your worksheet. So take a look at that. And now on your worksheet, we have something else. We're going to call it the profit pinwheel. And right in the middle, you can see residential sales. On the outside of that, go ahead and write in some other sources of income that would sort of naturally bloom from residential sales. Now, I'm going to be sending you a list because I do have a list of some ideas that I have brainstormed, as well as other real estate brokerages, of what they're doing, things that they are offering to their agents, to consumers, corporate accounts, and things. So definitely take a look at that. Corporate accounts are really good, especially if you can land a contract with a relocation company, an REO agent. Those do take a little while. They're not something that you can just implement right away. For my brokerage, I went to the Small Business Development Center in my area, and I actually got certified as a minority-owned business, small business, women-owned business. And with those certifications, I was eligible to pursue government contracts. Now that is a long-term plan. It does take a while. It's not quick, but it could be a very strong and steady stream once you get the ball rolling in that direction. Okay, so hopefully everybody wrote down some things there. And again, you can do this later. But now we're going to talk about risk versus opportunity. And we have a sun and clouds chart for you. Okay, good. Thank you, Rebecca. She says, I'm loving this webinar. I'll be replaying it. So go ahead and take a look at your activity chart. And there's something on there called the suns and clouds chart. And I want to take a moment to explain this because this is not something many of us are familiar with. It's something that I learned in an advanced MBA class, and this is from the Standout Business Plan with Brian Tracy. And this is for a business that wants to either start a new line of products or services, they want to pursue a project, or maybe even just start a new business. So this is a quick and easy way without doing a lot of mathematical calculations to figure out, is my business going to fly? Is this profit stream going to be successful? So a cloud would mean that it is bad. It's something that's going to negatively affect your business. Possibly it's a risk. The sunshine, on the other hand, is a bright opportunity. It's something that is really great, that is going to make your business succeed, or at least give it the opportunity to succeed, and whether or not you take advantage of that, right? So if you look at the suns and clouds chart, you're going to see two factors. The first is the impact. What is the impact going to be? Is that small, medium, or large? For example, a recession. We just had one 10 years ago. Very few of us would have predicted that had a large impact. We see it now, but many of us didn't realize that. That would be in the large category. If you have a new mom and pop shop business starting around the corner from you, I would say that's a very small impact to your business. Now let's look at the top is likelihood. Likelihood is low, medium, or high. So what is the likelihood of that happening? Well, we know that we have a downturn in the market coming. We don't know when, and we don't know the impact, whether it will be small, medium, and large, but we want to sort of guesstimate, and we also want to know what is the likelihood of that happening in the near future. Is it a low likelihood, a medium, or high? Now, I know, we have different thoughts about that, but definitely you want to go ahead and put that in. So some of the things you want to put on here, this is not internal, these are external. This is like when we did our SWOT analysis on the first week, and we looked at the external things that would affect us, the threats and the opportunities. Except for in this chart, they call it risks and opportunities, but it's sort of the same thing, threats, okay? So if licensing laws change, if the market's fragmented, if there's too many agents in your area, if there's not enough agents in your area, if there's too many competitors, those could all be risks. What about opportunities? Opportunities could be there's new developments in town and a lot of new real estate to sell. The market is rising, or the market falls, or you could have more awareness of your industry, or there could be increase in professionalism. Those are all things that you can't control, but they are going to happen. When they happen, how big of an impact will they have, and what is their likelihood? So just take a few minutes here to write those into your chart, and then you see how they're numbered 1 through 5 on the risks, 1 through 5 on the opportunities. And what you want to do is you want to take each of those and put them onto the chart and see how close they are. Now, if you see large and high in the top right, there's a little thunderbolt. If you reach that little square, it means you're in trouble. If there's a cloud in that square, abort plan. Do not go forward with the business plan, right? It's a large impact. It's highly likely to happen, and it will negatively affect your business to the point you might not even have a business. Whereas if there's a sunshine in that corner, you should definitely go forward. So you can look at my little example here and sort of how I've done that. I hope that helps everybody a little bit. So we have risks and opportunities. And the last thing is a sensitivity test. So what you want to do is quantify the impact of those risks. And remember, when you prepare your business plan and you take it to a banker, they're going to assume the worst case scenario, right? So you have to prepare for that. So prepare a downside case. Be honest about the risks that face your business. Don't paint it all rosy and perfect. We know that there are risks, but say what those risks are, what their cumulative impact is, and how you're going to offset those risks with leverage it with opportunities, or how you're going to insulate yourself from those risks. So balance your risk with the upside case, as it's called, best case scenario. So again, check out the book, The Standout Business Plan by Vaughn Evans and Brian Tracy. It's really awesome. So now we have a little poll here. And what is the best method to determine a new, okay, we're going to reset the poll here. What is the best method to determine if a new profit center is a good investment? So we're thinking about offering another product or service. The poll is up now. A, calculate the investment cost and return. Math. B, talk to other people, get their advice. That might be good. C, give it a try and see if it works out. You know, in our real estate industry, we hear a lot about execution, take action. That's the most important thing. I'm going to disagree with that. Yes, it is important, but it's more important to think through your plan and have a good strategy, a good plan of action first, to weigh the risks and the rewards, to calculate the cost before you just take action. Okay, so everybody's saying A so far, calculate investment cost and return. Okay, B, talk to others. I do like talking to others, but I don't do that until I do A, calculate the investment cost and return. Why? Because others might say things, but you might not know the true picture. They may say, oh yeah, we tried this. We had blah, blah, blah income. We had blah, blah, blah sales, but they don't really tell you the cost. And also they might not know the cost, and they might not present a full picture to you because you might be their competitor. So again, we're going to go ahead and end that poll. Calculate investment cost and return. 1, woohoo, 88%. B is talk to others, get their advice, 13%. Run out and give it a try, got 0 votes. So, all right, good job. Give it a try is good, but do the other 2 steps first. Okay, my slides did not upload. Okay, we're going to go back over to, let's see, Ryan said A, an option to pick A or B. Catherine said, I predicted it, double-digit appreciation, no money down loans was a clear indication that the recession was coming hard and fast. Yes, I agree with you. I I knew it couldn't last forever. It couldn't just keep going up and up and up and up. So some hard-learned lessons for all of us, that's for sure. Next is, now we're going to switch over a little bit and talk about continuous innovation. Continuous innovation is a matter of filling gaps in the marketplace and responding to change proactively. Why? Because the marketplace is always changing. It's constantly moving forward, and if we're not doing anything to innovate, we're going to be left behind over time simply because we haven't kept up with the changing market, right? So the law of life is that things are always moving, developing, progressing, evolving, and we've got to stay up at the minimum. Now, as an example, look at GE. What they have in their big corporate company is they have a whole bunch of little entrepreneurship divisions, and they innovate and they create new things that they either incorporate or spin off to other products. Microsoft is known for doing that as well. They have a little research hub where employees can come, use all of Microsoft's tools, create new products, and then Microsoft can partner with that employee and spin off new businesses from that. So how do you innovate? It starts by listening to your customers to find out what they want and need, and also listening to non-customers, because how are you going to get new customers unless you find out what people need who are not yet your customers? Better yet, okay, this is a tip I heard yesterday. Hire a whole bunch of people who know nothing about your industry. Why? Because they don't have those predetermined notions. They're not set in this way of this is the way we've traditionally done it. And they're open to innovation because they see the way things could be done better, which many of us don't see if we're knee deep in the industry. So let's talk about product development. Product development is creating something new. Like we said, discover the needs of your prospective clients. There's an 8-step product development process. And the most important step is to conduct a feasibility study. That's where you calculate your investment, calculate your return, the time to recapture your investment, how long it takes you, and the potential profit from that. And then, is there a better place you could have been using your money? So if you can see my screen, I have a little saying here: to get rich, invent something that fills a need in the marketplace. But to get wealthy, invent something consumers don't yet know they need. Now, talking about innovation, next year we're going to be having a series on blue ocean strategy and innovation. It'll be a lot of brainstorming, a lot of high-level thinking, so I hope you'll stay tuned for that. I mean, it's just a lot to cover. I know we're close to our time today, but I have a lot to share, so if you want to stay on, that's perfectly fine. I would love to have you stay on. And we're going to go to, let's go back over here, screen sharing. Investing in new products. So how do you invest? You research it. You compare the investment opportunities. What is the best use of your funds? First of all, it's good to have funds and it's good to be debt-free. But on the other hand, you don't want a lot of funds sitting around not being used. And you might think, wow, it's good to have a lot of money in the bank, but in business, it's not good. Why? It's costing you something. That's an opportunity cost. In other words, if your money is sitting in the bank earning 1% interest, and you could have taken that money, invested in a new business opportunity or a new product line that you could have earned 6% from, now you've lost 5%. That was your cost of the opportunity. So it's good to compare, and this is what large corporations do, is before they start a new product or new service, they'll compare it. They'll weigh 2 different products next to each other and see which one is more profitable. Or they can compare a new product to doing nothing, right? So all those are different options. And with that calculation I gave you, it's pinned to the top of the chat bar. You can go in and do some calculations on your own and figure that out. The most important thing to note is that capital is never idle, or wealth is never idle. And that is what Steve Forbes said yesterday in his speech, is that money never does nothing. It's always doing something. And if it's not working for you and you have it sitting in the bank, it's working for someone else. So make your money work for you. There's a 9-stage process. I'm not going to go through all the steps, but in developing a new product, there are 9 stages. And part of that is conducting a feasibility study. That's your business analytics. So in your profit analysis, what is the market demand for the product? Is there a demand, or can you create a demand? What is the cost or the investment to start it? How soon will it take? How many months or years before I get a return of that investment? And what is my percent of return on investment? In other words, could I have put that money to use somewhere else and possibly made more money? Okay, so now we have a little ROI calculation for you, a very simple one. And let's take a look at that here. So our ROI calculation is going to measure our sales growth from business or product line. And what you want to do is subtract the marketing costs and then divide that by the marketing costs. So here we have the little equation, ROI equals growth minus marketing costs divided by marketing costs. So it's a pretty simple equation. You could probably go online and find other variations that incorporate more factors into it. But that's a basic start. And then, of course, use that online calculator that I gave you for more. Oh, here's a copy of that online calculator of risk and return. It's actually from Zen Wealth. But you can calculate capital budgeting. You can calculate cash flow and financial forecasting, time value of money. That's really important too. So those of us who have taken, all those finance classes, and I know Carlos Hernandez, you can identify with me. He just earned his master's degree in real estate finance. So these are a lot of tough calculations. Make it easy for yourself. Just stick the numbers in a calculator and let the calculator do the hard work and figure that out for you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about economic cycle. So this is our last topic. I know we're short on time, but if you can stick with me, that's great. If not, no worries. You're welcome to watch the replay. I just packed my slide presentation with too much stuff this time. As usual, it seems like each week I have more and more slides. So what about economic cycles? Well, we know in real estate, there are seasonal economic cycles, and those are fall, winter, spring, and summer. And we know winter is usually the dead time of year, and spring is usually the abundant time of year for real estate sales. But that varies. It varies by your region that you live in. It varies by the economic cycle that we're in, right? It varies by who your consumer base is. For example, if you live in a resort community, it's going to be very different than if you live in, say, a military community, or if you live in a working class metro community. So all those have different seasonal annual cycles. And the other part is the economic cycles, which are things, of course, we can't control any of that, but we have short-term and long-term economic cycles. And I'm not an economist. I just took enough accounting economic courses to be dangerous. Just kidding, but probably. So I've taken several real estate economics courses, and it's very fascinating. I really suggest looking into it if you, start thinking about it. But not that it will give you any solutions, but it will help you understand things on a bigger level a little better so that you can explain to your clients a little more. So here we have some of the seasons, and we know the seasons vary by your area. Short-term economic cycles, long-term. So now we have a little poll. How do you prepare for market cycles? Okay, this is pretty funny. You're going to love this poll. Reset poll. Okay, how do you prepare for economic cycles? Do you, one, counterbalance your income sources, or do you, B, lower debt and raise profitability, or C, run and hide under the covers? Now, if your answer is C, don't feel bad. I think we've all done that a time or two, especially in the last recession. That hit all of us pretty hard. Okay, so let's talk about each of these quickly. Counterbalancing your income sources is sort of like, I call it the yin and yang of business profitability. You have one business that's up during an up market and another business that's up during a down market. And an example would be, new construction and sales division, and then an REO and distress sales and short sales division, right? So one is up while the other is down, and then when the market flips, the other one is up. Okay, great. So the other one, we'll talk about lowering debt in just a minute, but let's go ahead and in the poll publish these results. 43% said counterbalancing income sources. Great job. 57% said lowering debt and raising profitability. All right, great job. Nobody said run and hide under the covers. But honestly, if you did say that, we couldn't fault you for that because, we've all been through some tough things here, but, we're on track. We're doing better. We learned from it. Okay, so screen share. Now I'm sharing this screen of an economic real estate cycle. And it starts with, let's look at expansion. Expansion, you can see we're going up to the top. Once we get to the top, it sort of levels out. We may have a plateau or we may not. And then it goes into oversupply, and oversupply starts to bring the curve down. And then recession, the curve is going all the way down. And then when it picks back up again, it's going to be recovery, right? And then each of these might plateau or might be stable for a while in between. This is just a basic chart. They could be overlapping each other. There's a lot to know about it, and there are some economic experts among us, so they would be those would be great people to pick their brain a little bit about that. So how do you prepare for the inevitable cyclical business cycle of real estate? You want to smooth out those rough bumps and ensure your overhead is covered every month and be ready for the eventual sales downturn. So always be ready by anticipating the changing market. Have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D, right? Those are those lessons we learned. And debt may encumber you and weigh you down. So some of you said you want to be debt free to be prepared for an upcoming market cycle, which is an enviable goal. We talked about last week balancing debt versus the opportunity to grow. And to grow, you need capital. You either take on debt or you take on investors who take a piece of your company. So there's no easy answer, and that will have to be something you carefully plan with your leadership team. But when you are debt free, there's a lot of freedom in that. And freedom, I don't mean financial freedom, I mean freedom from stress and freedom from worry if the market turns, that you don't have to worry about if your costs are covered and things like that. So there's a lot to be said for being debt free and being prepared for the market cycle. Again, it is a balance. So we want to always counterbalance and have up market products and down market products, which I talked about just a minute ago. Okay, so we see up market products, down market products. I gave you an example of that. And okay, so now we're wrapping it up. 11:07, we're not too bad. So we have our top 3 books this week. We talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is a book from Robert Kiyosaki. Many of you are familiar with him. If not, I strongly suggest reading his series of books, not just one, but his series. Start with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then we have Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant. And that's where our ESBI quadrant came from that we talked about. Let's see. Okay. I'm just getting those books real quick. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop the screen sharing and just show you the books real quick. All right, so here's a few of the books. I actually have about 8 books in this series, but Retire Young, Retire Rich. This is the original Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then Own Your Own Corporation, which is great. I recommend reading this as well for real estate brokerage owners. The whole series of books are excellent. And then also we talked about Vaughn Evans and Brian Tracy's book, The Standout Business Plan, which is a little more advanced because it's not like a regular business plan. It involves the risks and opportunities that we saw with the sun and clouds chart and some other more advanced concepts, but it's really excellent. So I do recommend that book as well. Okay, so some resources we're going to send you after today's MasterMind webinar. Some property management back office, a link to something for that. Some links for affiliate fees for services you can offer to agents and to consumers. We talked about both of those. And then we also have a free gift for you, which is our list of revenue generating ideas. So power up your business, and thank you for joining me for the 4th of 12 steps to build your business empire. You all have your activity workbook. I will send you some bonus downloads. We learned today about Fortune 500 concepts without the MBA price tag. Oh, and one more thing. I do want you to meet our business plan team because that is something new from last week. So as we mentioned, we do help business owners create their business plan specifically for real estate brokerages. But I wanted to let you know we have an entire team of super awesome experts, starting with our business plan writer, Charlene. We have an accounting professional, Cherie, who helps with all those pro formas for those of you that order the pro forma plan. We have an expert editor and our coordinator, Abby. And most importantly, we just brought on an expert growth advisor, which is Josh Hirsch, formerly from a very top company that he helped build and be extremely profitable in the real estate technology space. So we're very excited to have them all on board. Now, if you ordered the business plan, the second business plan, which is the advanced plan, that's $2,500. If you order that one, you will automatically receive an expert review, Shark Tank style, where your plan is reviewed and critiqued by our expert advisor. And if you get the pro forma one, it will, in addition to the pro forma, also have 2 advisors to come in and weigh in on your business plan. So hopefully that's something everybody can benefit from. Thank you very much today. And remember to tune in next week. Our topic is agent recruitment, and we will have a spreadsheet, and I will show you step by step on the spreadsheet calculations to make sure that your agents are profitable as far as what the resources that you're offering from your company. Okay, so drive profits to the max is one of our topics next year. Innovation with Blue Ocean Strategies. Again, we do offer consultations, and you know how to contact me if you need it. So, you can always feel free to contact me at any time. Let's go back over here to the chat. Oh, Ingrid says, thank you, Regina. Loved it. Woohoo. Awesome. Thank you, Ingrid. And Sarah Holland, thank you so much. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you again for joining. And I hope you have a great, wealthy, winning Wednesday. And we'll see you next week. Feel free to email me, Facebook message me, or anything in the meantime. And we'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.